Let's get through here. I find that Obelisk it has to be like the most common daily stratagem that I see. It is always Obelisk. Obelisk, Obelisk, Obelisk. Every single time. Every single day, I feel like. Hi, how's it going? Today we're taking a look at the hard stratagem Obelisk. So as you can see, I actually already completed this. The battlefield conditions were pretty favorable. We had heavy caliber, secondary weapons damage is greatly reduced, but primary weapons damage is increased. Empathy, 100% damage is shared among all players, so another one that can be really good or really bad depending on who you're playing with and the situation. And we actually had Unshaken, so you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits and you cannot be knocked back. So in my opinion, 3 very favorable conditions to work with for a hard stratagem, which made this playthrough of Obelisk hard stratagem a breeze with the team that I was placed with. You'll see in the gameplay we had a tactical and we had a sniper, so probably the most optimal group that you could have had for this hard stratagem. But taking a look at our build here that we go in, first of all, we're playing the heavy. We've got our Ultramarines dripped out heavy Space Marine here. We decided to go for the heavy plasma incinerator because I have absolutely been in love with this weapon. I did think about going for the heavy melta because usually melta is one of my favorites to go against chaos with because of the chaos spawn problem. I call it a problem. I'm not super fond of the chaos spawn, but when you bring a melta, it kind of changes your problems to the enlightened Zangor become the biggest problem in my opinion when you start bringing a melta. It makes it very easy to deal with the chaos spawn, and then yeah, shooting enlightened Zangors that are flying around and zipping around kind of becomes your main issue. Today we used the heroic variant, which is personally my favorite because it is just, it's got everything you need. It's got good firepower. It does have splash capability without the charge. It's got really good magazine capacity. Like I said, unfortunately, it just doesn't compare. It's not too super compatible with lots of the perk tree for it. So for this variant, I just kind of try to maximize ammo, and I decide to go the top route here so that common shots generate 10% less heat. This one is actually way bigger than I thought it was. Originally, I thought 10% less heat. That's not that big of a deal. Let's make it cool faster. So I was going the bottom route here, but decided eventually to switch to the top and try it out. This perk actually, in my opinion, that you feel this. You feel this 10% a lot more than you would think. So we go there and then we move over here to rapid cooling. I think that this is just generally super useful for rapid fire incinerator because you kill 7 enemies very often, especially against Tyranids, and it just completely stops the weapon from heating. So you can just blast and blast and blast and blast, and it is really, really strong, really, really busted. So then we go down over to heavy velocity. When in heavy stance, shots charge 15% faster. This is completely useless for the heavy variant because you do not do charge shots, but this allows us to come down to increase our energy reserve by 20%. And then we move over here to efficient charge. Charge shots from this plasma weapon use 2 less energy. This is also completely useless, but it helps us move on into the tree, which you need to do anyways. And it's not really any better than, you know, going with this one because this one's also useless, and then this one is also useless. So you kind of just got to pick your path, pick your poison. Coming down here and getting this was way more important to me, so we'll waste this perk basically and move on into this one. When your health drops below 30%, your ammo reserve is restored by 25%. This doesn't happen all the time, but you'll generally be happy when it does because having ammo means you're able to contest a lot of health, and with the heavy plasma incinerator, you're able to contest a lot of health. When you have ammo, it's almost like you've got infinite heals if you're not getting stagger locked out of your contested HP, assuming. But so when you do get low health, your ammo is restored, and you know that you've got that kind of contingency plan. Moving on into heavy fire, while in heavy stance, fire rate increases by 15%. This is really good because you already get increased fire rate while using the heroic heavy plasma incinerator in heavy stance. This just gives you a little bit more. I'm actually not too sure how much it stacks up, if it's additive, if it's multiplicative, but regardless, this thing fires really fast when you're in heavy stance, and you're usually always in heavy stance. At least I am when I'm fighting. If I'm cleaning up little small hordes while running, I'll hip fire shot. against Minoris and things like that. But the moment that things start to get hectic, I'm heavy stanced up, no, like all the way. So, and then we don't move up because that gives us more useless perks for charge shots. A lot of the perks in the top tree are for charge shots, so we do go this way for melee damage is increased by 50%. This is pretty useless. You can feel it a little bit doing like when you ground stomp and things like that, but I mean, melee damage on the heavy isn't particularly useful in any regard, really. Even if you go for every single melee option possible, even in the prestige perks, you know, you can kind of make it viable, but it's never really going to be meta. But it is kind of a nice top up to have just in case I do get swarmed. Say I'm fighting Tyranids and I get swarmed by Gaunts. It's nice to just be able to hit a ground stomp and be doing 50% more damage. I also have the prestige perk on that it increases your ground stomp radius, so you're hitting more things, so it's not entirely useless. Again, the alternative, this one is actually really good, heavy immunity. That is ideally the one that I was going to go for, but I kind of just thought that the 3 lead up perks being completely useless wasn't really justifiable for the heavy stance controlled, the losing control from heavy hits. If you just play smarter, like, you don't really need this perk. There's other options to have it. Like, you should always have this somewhere in your build, but it's not entirely necessary to have it on my weapon here because there's other ways. And also the stratagem that we do today actually has the modifier that we don't lose control on heavy hits anyways, so this would have just been completely useless. So it's kind of nice just to have that little top up. We go into Brutal Rampage. After killing 3 enemies or more with 1 shot, you deal 25% more damage for 5 seconds. This is kind of hard to pull off without a charge shot, but it does happen, and I find that it does happen pretty often. If you just remember that you have this perk and remember to shoot a shot into a horde, like a clump of cultists, it will blast them away, and it's pretty easy to hit 3 of them. Even Zangors, it's pretty easy to hit 3 of them, and it's gonna one-hit kill them, and then you get 25% more damage. It's kind of hard to make the most out of that 5%, but it's still better, I think, than taking the top route. So, and then we got Fast Venting, weapons cool 15% faster, that's just generally nice, and then we get 20% more energy reserve. So that's what I went with. I think that's probably my favorite route, especially to go for the heavy, the heroic heavy plasma incinerator. If I play a charged one, I might switch it up a little bit, but I also am kind of lazy sometimes and don't want to reset my perks. So this is kind of just like my general ammo econ all-rounder. I will use this also just for using these as well, unless I'm specifically going for a charge build like this. Then I'll actually go through and rework my perk tree, make it so that I can charge even faster, make it so that my charge shots do more damage, stuff like that. So that's our primary that we use. Our secondary, I won't cover this one as in-depth because we hardly touch this thing due to the condition in the hard stratagem, Obelisk. So yeah, we decided to just bring the plasma pistol in. This is what I almost always bring in for my heavy plasma Incin build, just because plasma with plasma, you know, how could you go wrong? This is my general setup for it. I actually got this set up from First Tour Guardsman, shout out to him. Just a general ammo economy setup. I think that this is just the best as well setup just for any plasma pistol variant. You know, if you're not using the fast fire rate variant and you're using the other ammo econ one, I would still generally take all of this and just have even more ammo, because that's, you know, that's kind of the reason that you switch to that in the first place. But generally the rate of fire one is going to be your best bet, and it's just so good at restoring contested HP. Unfortunately, the damage was reduced on this, so we barely touch this thing. It's kind of just there to look pretty and to deal with pesky cultists that are off in the distance, because this still will one-shot them. Because, yeah, they're just minion class, basically. They're almost anything, just one-hit kills them. So, yeah, those pesky snipers that sit in the back, I'll switch to this every once in a while and go ahead and pick them off, because it's kind of hard to hit the plasma incinerator anything past, like, 20 or 30 meters. So, yeah, that's kind of really just all we used. Basic ammo economy variant for that. So, getting into our perk tree here, this is our setup that we went with. I decided to go for a Restoration. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. This is such a good perk. You kill 7 enemies so often, or in rapid succession specifically, especially against Tyranid faction. You're getting this all the damn time. And I wasn't using a multi-melta, otherwise I probably would take this, and I pretty much never touch this perk. It is good. That I'm not saying that it's untouchable, it's unusable. I think that having the armor restoration is just much more useful, because the heavy has so many variant ways to recoup ammo anyways. So I find myself not really needing this. Unfortunately, sometimes you do run into the situation where this would really help, and sometimes even save a run, but it's few and far between where I just feel like this just generally is better for me for most builds. And if you're using a multi-melta, you probably want to use the actual multi-kill perk dedicated to it. So moving to the next one, usually I always take this. I take Fortitude all the damn time. It's just so damn good. 30% increased health for any class at all is incredibly busted. This helps you keep on par with tankiness with the Bulwark, which helps a lot. But because of the condition, I wanted to get a little bit more technical. So we didn't go with Fortitude, and we actually went with Thermal Boost. When a ranged weapon is 50% overheated, you have less than 50% ammo in magazine. Range damage increases by 15%. This happens all the damn time with the Plasma Incinerator because you're just spam shooting out and generating heat. Once you hit 50%, you're doing 15%, or I guess I should say, once you hit 50% overheat, you're doing 15% more damage. Mixed with the condition that primary weapon damage is already increased, you're just doing that much more on top. You're adding on to that. So that's what we decided to go for there. And then down here, I almost always go with versatility. I think versatility is such a good perk to have, especially for Incinerator builds, because if you go Plasma Incinerator mixed with the regular Plasma Pistol, by the time that you overheat your primary weapon, you switch to your secondary, which gives you 20% more damage until you overheat it or you reload it, which you don't reload, so it would be overheat in this case. So as long as you don't overheat your plasma pistol, you're always getting 20% more damage. That basically makes it so that through the entire game, 20% damage from my secondary. Very, very, very strong, as long as you're not overheating it. But the thing is that even if you do overheat it, by the time you do get out 3 or 4 charged plasma shots and overheat your secondary, your primary is good to go again, which makes it so that versatility is active it has a 100% uptime for nearly the entire game, basically. But for this stratagem, we decided to go for when Iron Halo is active, all squad members within 10 meters deal 10% more ranged. I wasn't super nitpicky about making this line up with my team, because 10 meters is kind of hard to make happen sometimes, especially if you're playing with Assault or Vanguard who have tons of map mobility. This was mainly kind of for my greed, where the point of the build here is that we overheat our weapon to about 50% or close to 50%, activate our shield, and we get 10% more on top of this 15 for a 25% damage boost on top of the stratagem modifier that gives us greatly increased damage already. This absolutely put up numbers. Like, it was noticeable. We were smacking mofos around like a truck. It was crazy. So for our team perk, we decided to go for additional supplies. This one's a bit of a controversial one because it's not particularly useful a lot of the times on heavy builds, I find, especially because there are classes that simply don't have primary guns, and if you get paired up with them, you're basically just cutting your usefulness in thirds. And if you have like a Bulwark and an Assault come into your game while you're running this, it's only benefiting you, and it's kind of a waste. But for this, because I kind of had a pretty damn good feeling that I would load into the stratagem with people who actually had brains to bring primary weapons, I was pretty confident that it would affect the entire team. And because of the boost with the primary weapons, having more ammo, having that DACA just pushes our damage output that much more. And I definitely found it very useful. I was hardly ever scrounging for ammo. Just having this was just a big DPS increase, because not having to worry about ammo conservation and just getting things off of the board as soon as you possibly can. Very useful. Otherwise, I probably would have just gone with all squad members take 25% less damage from ranged attacks, because that's incredibly useful, especially against Chaos, because they just sit in the back and pin you with range shots. But that was definitely not a problem here, because we were taking things off the board so damn fast. So next up, moving into the gear section, I did basically my favorite setup for the heavy in almost any game is Emperor's Protection. When Iron Halo expends all of its energy, one armor segment is restored for all squad members. I'm starting to kind of think that maybe this isn't super good, because it's kind of hard more times than not to actually make your Iron Halo run out, like actually expend all of its energy. I used to always run this with Field Adjustment, with Wrath of the Imperium, so that I could have the recharge rate, so I'm getting my shield back 20% faster, and then trying to fully drain it every single time that I get it. It's really hard to do, because especially losing the 25% durability, more times than not, your shield is going to break before it runs out of energy, and it's not good. And obviously this perk down here, Power Regulator, is just a straight nerf to these two perks for whatever reason. I don't know why they have to all be on the end. You'd think that they'd kind of put more better perks that synergize together in the same column the more you progress, but I guess not, because this makes it so that it loses energy 20% more slower, so you're activating these 20% less often, because it's not, or it takes 20% longer for these to even trigger in the first place. So what I decided to do was go with the Bastion perk. What even is that word? Obdurate Bastion, which increases Iron Halo's durability by 20%, which makes it basically so that it's more likely that when I activate my Iron Halo, it is going to actually survive until the very end. Because something that I feel like some people don't realize is that these two perks here trigger off of it actually expending all of its energy. It needs to stop on its own. It doesn't count, it doesn't proc on if an enemy shoots your shield and it breaks it or deactivates it. So that's why we don't run with this. It does suck losing out on the 20% faster recharge, but having it get actually to the end and make use of these two perks is much more important to me. So yeah, we go with the 20% more increased durability. Unfortunately, we don't really make much use of this in this playthrough, because we're just constantly spamming out plasma incin shots, and not really too worrying about getting in the thick of the battle and proccing this one here, the Wrath of the Imperium. Honestly, I'm starting to kind of think that maybe Adamant Will is probably the best in slot for especially the first one here, just because you can just basically activate Adamant Will and then deactivate it manually, and it'll always give you 20% less health damage for 10 seconds. So as long as you've got your Iron Halo up, as long as you have Iron Halo up, you always have access to this. And so once your armor breaks, you can just press Y again, and boom, immediately you basically get a conviction-like effect. Super strong. Unfortunately, playing around Adamant Will kind of takes away from actually keeping your shield active, because you always want to turn it on, then turn it back off, and it kind of makes you save it for those moments, and you're not really using it to block actual shots. But anyways, we're not here to talk about those kind of builds, so that's what I ran for this. It wasn't particularly useful. It was kind of just there. And then we ran Conversion Field just to help my teammates get their things back, because again, with trying to keep my shield up 24/7, I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to keep a 100% uptime, but when I do activate it, I do keep it on for as much durability of it that I can, hoping that it fully expends. So because I'm keeping my shield up for as long as I can for the entire time that it has energy, Conversion Field is just helping regenerate ability charge to nearby teammates. Kind of just a nice little top up. Otherwise, I'd probably go offensive capability, but it's chaos mission, so I'm not really finding myself surrounded by too many enemies, especially in 5 meters, very small distance. Not very useful. So that's what we ran. And then for our prestige perks here, we went with Conviction. That's kind of just a given. You always want this. It's just so good. It's so useful. And then also Conviction mixed with, what's the name up here? Adamant Will. You can stack those, I'm pretty sure. So, you know, when your armor fully breaks, you take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. Your armor breaks, you instantly pop up your shield, then deactivate it. You take another 20% for 10 seconds less. Makes you very, very durable. Very good combination. We took Auxiliary Reload. That's also kind of a given. Melee kills of extremist level or higher enemies restore your primary weapon's ammo by 1 magazine. For heavy, this is always, you should just always have this, especially if you're playing lethal or absolute. Specifically, anything under that, you lose a lot of value on this because you're not killing as many extremists, but the moment that you hit lethal and you move into absolute, this thing gives you so much value, it's absurd. We got Indomitable Spirit. While performing gun strikes, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. That's really useful. And Stomp area of effect radius is increased by 50%. And that's everything. That is what we used. So thank you very much. Sorry for the huge yap. I talk a lot. And I hope that you guys enjoy the gameplay. And we'll catch you in another video, I hope. So enjoy. Okay, here we go. Finally, I'm in a mission. Oh, okay, a little bit of lag. Finally, I'm loaded into a mission. Let's give some help. Holy, dude. What on earth did I spawn into? Today, I was just gonna say, today is a bad day for Space Marine 2 because I've been keeping up for 30 minutes in and out of hard stratagems today. Loading into underleveled lobbies and people who have lobbies open that are just sitting there, not playing. Finally, we get into a stratagem. We are loaded in a little bit late, but that is okay with me. Oh, look at this. This is gonna be good. Oh. Today, this is the Obelisk hard stratagem. That is primary weapons, our ranges. Oh my goodness, can I speak? I'm like so focused. Primary damage is buffed. Okay. Let me get out of here a little bit. I do not want to be trapped in there when the new wave spawns in. Primary damage is buffed, so I'm playing an Ultramarines heavy. Take some cover here. He's gonna shoot me. What am I taking damage from? Oh, damage is shared. I think. I forgot about that. Come on, come on, come on. I need some armor. I do not like taking all this damage from other people. Give me some armor. Some ground splash damage there. Give me some more armor. We do have a sorcerer on the field. And I'm out of primary ammo already. That is hard to believe almost. Yeah, he's executing there. I'll maybe ping that to see if my teammate wants it. No, you don't want that? Okay, I guess I'll grab that. I even have ammo capacity increase. I did not realize I was running out of ammo that fast, so at least there is a ammo restock coming up, and we got the Hellbrood out of the way, thankfully. Took a little bit of damage I didn't want there, but I have been having a hard time adjusting to playing on these monitors rather than my big luxurious TV. You'd think it would be better, but it is weird to get used to. Toss a little grenade in there. Just go ahead and get a gun strike there. Okay, let me go get some ammo. It's heavy, that's kind of the whole point. Do I want those? I guess it beats nothing. Go ahead and re-up on my ammo here. Yeah, so it has been a struggle to get into hard stratagems. Also, I realized that when I first loaded in this game, I guess I'll grab that stim. When I first loaded in this game, I only had 77 rounds, so I think that my perk didn't proc on my weapon spawning into this game. Because I think I only had 77, but now I've got 91. So I think my team perk finally procced for this. So I'll have a little bit more ammo. I should not be the one carrying that. That would be wiser for one of you guys to carry for sure. But I have been fighting for 30 to 40 minutes to even just get into a match. I was doing the termination daily, recording that, and every single lobby I spawned into was under level, under level, under level. Extremists on the field. Here we go. Stay behind me, brothers. Wow, that might have been the easiest extremist pack kill I've done to date. If we had a Vanguard on the team, that's three free stims right there. Crazy. Crazy. So we are using a build tailored to this. I'm not just using some random whack-ass build. I assume that if this stratagem makes the cut, then I will have explained everything that I was doing for this heavy setup here in the beginning of the video. We still have a ton of ammo. Ton of ammo. But I am doing a little bit of a squishy heavy build. We're going very damage intensive. Trying to put out those numbers. So basically the goal of the build is keep my shield up as much as I can, specifically when I overheat when I'm close to overheating my incinerator. When it's about 50% overheated, we want to pop my shield up, and that's going to give us an additional 25% extra damage, because 10% for the perk of having it on and getting, while your Iron Halo is active, you get 10% more range damage for your whole team, mind you. Not just me, but also the prior perk in the skill tree that makes it so that when your weapon is 50% overheated, you get 15% more damage. So the more overheated we go and we pop that shield, we are putting out pretty big damage numbers. Unfortunately, that does get rid of the 30% health buff for heavy, but we're going to see how it works. We're going to see how it works. And maybe if it doesn't work, we'll switch back to the 30%. And we're kind of just walking around in circles here. Grab some more ammo at least. Should probably be using my plasma pistol for the Minoris enemies, even though it is nerfed for this. Yeah, look at that. It does no damage at all, so it's not even good for these Minoris. We need to use it just on the cultists. Pretty much exclusively for the cultists. Okay, this is a dead end here. Where are we going, boys? Here we go. This way? Yeah, this way's got to be the way. There we go. Interact this way. Perfect.
The code to leave this room.
Yes, sir. We will. We will. We're on our way.
Found a servo scope.
To get through here, I find that Obelisk it has to be like the most common daily stratagem that I see. It is always Obelisk. Obelisk, Obelisk, Obelisk. Every single time. Every single day, I feel like. It is growing on me a little bit. I really hated Obelisk for a really long time, but it is kind of growing on me because there are worse maps. I used to hate this because of this whole relic area where, you know, you've got to hold it and you can barely see. You got to stay within the zone. Was not able to get that in time. That's probably not the end of the world. But I started thinking on a more positive light, in that there's worse. It could be Reliquary, or it could be Vortex. There is worse out there. Oh my god, that wasn't my teammate, was it? I swore I just saw my teammate get absolutely ragdolled there. Insane. I think that the damage numbers I'm putting up are pretty insane right now. Even without the barrier up, I'm still getting generally, like, once I hit that 50%, it's just boom, boom, boom. Massive damage. 15% is, you know, it's not a crazy amount. Like, having it mixed is definitely much more noticeable, but 15% is nothing to bat an eye at, for sure. You definitely still feel it. Now, is that more important than the 30% extra health for survivability? Hard to really say. It's kind of a toss-up. Go ahead and grab that because I left it behind. Kind of a toss-up. I usually always run the 30% extra health for heavy. It's just so good. It is so strong. But I kind of like to get a little bit quirky with it when it comes to stratagems. It's fun to kind of just go, like, all out on the extremes. You know, if you've got buffed range damage for melee or for primary weapons, go all out. Go all out and just see how far you can push it. And, you know, usually it pays off. Like, I definitely feel being squishy, for sure. I've barely been hit, really, actually. But, like, with all this damage, I feel like this final boss fight, like, once that barrier goes down for the sorcerer, he is done for. I promise. And then we've also got this tactical. I'm gonna dodge out of that real quick. The one thing that sucks, so I use a lot of plasma incinerator weapons, and I use a lot of melta weapons. It is so butt cheeks to hit Enlightened Zangors is so bad. Okay, 50%. Let's go ahead and do this. Huge damage. Unfortunately, the cooling is long time. Hopefully, while they take care of a lot of the mess, we can be doing some damage here. Already under half health, so extremists are probably due. I'm gonna keep focusing my damage. Look at that! After he scanned, look at that, those numbers. That's crazy. Boom. Executable. That might be the fastest Hellbrood kill. Okay, I need to start conserving a little bit of ammo, though, maybe. Let's switch up focus. Try to get some splash on those guys together. 1, 2, 3. Executable. Let's go ahead and grab that. This is useless, basically, but I just kind of want to save some of my primary ammo. We'll hit a couple staggers. Of course, he's going to run from me. Turn into a melee fight here. Where'd he go? Okay, can you stop teleporting? That is so annoying. Jeez, man. Just trying to save a couple incinerator rounds here. We're down to 9. Definitely not good, but the fact that we got that Hellbrute off the field and everything cleaned up, I think that that's worth it, because I think in the long run, that saved us a lot of durability. That would have been really nice if that was some ammo. Oh, we got an ammo cache right here. I forgot. How do I always forget? Always forget about that ammo cache right there. So we're good. We're chilling them. We got full ammo. Everybody's doing fine. Everybody's doing just fine. No mortal wounds. Everybody's got pretty decent health. Hardly been touched. Finally, we find a good team. I'm thinking this is looking pretty good, because it has been a rough 30 minutes. I did hop into a couple of the termination ones. We did 2 run attempts, and within like the first little bit, like very fast, we're talking, my teammates were all dead. And then eventually I died, so I'm not innocent either, but oh, come on, cool down, please. Yes, perfect timing. That was excellent. This is a good tactical. He knows what he's doing. I'm going to help out with these little guys, too, because they're almost just as important. Okay, next zone is ready. Let's grab some ammo. Very good team. I like these guys. Sniper's doing a really good job, it feels like. Keeping distant Majoris off of our backs. Tactical's doing really good with his Auspex scan.
We must focus on the next altar.
And we're making progress, steady progress. That is the biggest thing always in these. It's like so annoying when you have teammates that get hung up and just keep on sticking around the same area. You know, it doesn't, like, I understand if you're fighting a whole bunch and you're bogged down, for sure, but you need to keep moving forward, at least a little bit, you know?
This is how we reach
as much as you possibly can. Just because if you keep staying in one area, nothing's going to change. You're just going to keep on fighting and enemies will keep on spawning. You're not going to get anywhere. Get rid of that guy right there. Okay, they're leaving this ammo behind. We might as well top up. We're already... At least this mission's fast. We got a really good RNG on this, I feel like. And this was like the fast variant. We zoomed through that relic area. And a couple more altars and we should be at the boss fight. And we're all pretty damn good. We got 2 stims on the team. One on me, one on our tactical. So that is good. Sniper doesn't have one, but Sniper's got pretty good sustain. If he's got purification, he should be fine. He should be fine. And he can also take this one up here. Oh, baby, look at that. Okay, I don't want to get hit by those. Now is not the time to choke. Come on. Of course, he waits until after I do my parry and block. We got an ammo cache here. No stim spawn by the looks of it. Get rid of him. At least with the extra damage, it does feel better. Oh, I think I missed all of those almost. I'm gonna try to help him out over there. Kind of hard to hit those long shots. Ooh, I'm not going to use a stim there. I'm still feeling pretty healthy. That was unfortunate. I probably shouldn't have taken that. I gotta pay more attention. Sniper's doing a really good job taking care of those the eyeballs. Kind of help him out the best I can here. There we go. Oh, here we go. Sorcerer's out. Done for. Very good job. Easy clap. For the Emperor. For the Emperor is right. Finally, we got a good game, good match. Good job, team. That was awesome. Very good job.
Take the obelisk replica.
Report. The area is secured. Now.
Victory. Let's take a final look at the screen here. Let's see what we did for numbers. I feel like my numbers had to have been pretty decent. I was putting up some pretty big digits. Sniper, I guess, would also be with buffed primary. Their weapons hit very heavy. I imagine his range damage is going to look very good. This probably is the ideal team for this stratagem. Tactical's got decent primary coverage. Heavy's got really good primary coverage, and Sniper as well. Alright, let's take a look at the final numbers here. Victory, boom, big XP. We don't even need it. We're already maxed out on our heavy. How do we do damage here? Almost 20,000 damage. That is very sizable. Wow. Plasma Incinerator buffed is crazy strong. Even the Sniper only had... No shame, no shame. Everybody played very, very well. Sniper had, what is that? 6, about 7, almost 8,000 maybe, and then I forgot what the tactical was, probably close to 10,000. We had almost 20,000 range damage there, and we joined in a little bit late even, which isn't that big of a deal or anything, but really good team. Played very well, played very well, played to their roles. Tactical is really good with their Auspex scan. Sniper, I felt like, did a really good job getting rid of Zangors, enlightened Zangors, and keeping bigger things off of us. Super fun. We'll head back to the battle barge here. I'm going to go get into some more hard stratagems. I want to do all 3 of the dailies, so you'll have to keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed, and we'll catch you in the next one.